think we're ready to start as soon as she starts the recording.
All right, as soon as we hear that booming voice from the sky, we'll get started.
Three.
It's recording already.
It's recording.
Wow, without the booming voice. All right, so Palm Springs Architectural Committee, Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. Roll call, please.
Good evening, everyone. Member Dillon?
Here.
Member Castro is absent. Member Thompson?
Here.
Member Elliott?
Here.
Member Roseman?
Here.
Member Thomas?
Present.
Vice Chair Walsh?
Here.
Chair O'Donnell?
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right. Could we have a report of the posting of the agenda?
Yes, the agenda was made available for this meeting for public access at the City Hall exterior bulletin board on the west side of the council chambers and at the planning services counter by 6 p.m. on Thursday, January 15th.
All right, thank you. Acceptance of the agenda. The Architectural Review Committee will discuss the order of the agenda, may amend the order, note abstentions, and request consent calendar items be removed from the consent calendar for discussion. And I just want to let everybody in the committee know that I will be presenting item 3B, so I'll be recusing myself.
Okay, thank you for that.
Good luck on that.
All right. Public comments.
I think we need
Let's get a
acceptance.
motion to accept the agenda.
Okay, do we have a motion for acceptance of the agenda?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, unanimous. We see you scribbling feverishly over there.
We got it.
All right. Public comments at this time. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Architectural Review Committee on the consent calendar and other agenda items and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Although the Architectural Review Committee values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. Anybody wishing to speak will have 3 minutes. Are there anybody in the audience wishing to speak in public comments? Anybody online? Nope, and nobody online, seeing none. We'll move on to the consent calendar. The following routine matters may be acted upon by one motion. Individual items may be removed by the commission for separate discussion at this time. 1A, approval of the minutes from January 5th, 2026. I was not in attendance, so I recuse myself from that item. Do we have any comments on the minutes from January 5th? Corrections, additions, deletions? Seeing none, do we need a motion on that?
Yes, please.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this is unanimous. Excluded consent calendar, items, okay, unfinished business, none, new business. So we'll move on to item 3A, new business. A request by, I guess this is an acronym, PPUSA LLC, owner for the approval of a major architectural application for a 16-court commercial pickleball complex located at the southwest corner of Avenida Evelita and Airport Center Drive, Zone M1, General Plan, Neighborhood Community Commercial, Airport Land Use Compatibility Zone C and E, APNs 677-530-006 and 007. Case DP 2024-0007, CUP 2025-0011, AMM-2024-0013, and AR 2024-0081, Ken Lyon, looks like you are the planner on this item. Can we have a presentation, please?
Yes, you can. As you noted, this is a commercial 16-court pickleball club complex. It's located south of the airport on a lot that's approximately 1.78 acres. Project has frontages on Airport Center Drive, Avenida Evelita, and Ramon Road. You noted the application types that are related to this project. The project was considered by the Planning Commission on June 10th, 2025, and again on December 9th, at which time it took the action to approve the project, including the conditional use permit, subject to conditions of approval, and recommended approval by the ARC, subject to those conditions. The review for you tonight is only the major architectural application. There is an AMM associated with this project that, if it is approved tonight, will be approved at the director level, and that's an AMM for a 10% reduction in off-street parking on this particular site. So at its December meeting, when the Planning Commission reviewed the project, it had a couple of recommendations that it would like the ARC to consider. Number one, consider requiring all the trees to be a minimum of 36-inch box size. Number two, the recommendation of use of vines as screening on the perimeter walls facing the public right-of-way. I've added a staff note in your staff report here. The Planning Commission, I think at the time, did not have the benefit of the landscape plan that they were looking at in detail. But as you'll see in the landscape plan, this project already has vines and medium-height shrubs planted along the right-of-way on the outer side of the perimeter wall. So we believe that aspect of it is probably adequately covered, but we'll let you guys consider that as you deliberate on the project. And also, there was a recommendation for you to look at the wall treatment to ensure that it is quote-unquote attractive and well-designed. Staff notes that the sand-colored split-face concrete block that's laid in the contemporary stack bond pattern with a standard masonry top cap is consistent with the other perimeter walls found on adjacent developments in the vicinity of the project site. So as I noted, the project includes 16 pickleball courts. It includes about a 1,200 square foot administration concessions building that includes a check-in reservation area, prepackaged food and beverages, bathrooms, storage, and outdoor covered viewing areas on both the first and second floor. The project has a 10-foot high perimeter court fencing, which is part masonry and part steel picket fence, and part chain link fencing. The project does have court lighting. That was the subject of the conditional use permit that was approved by the Planning Commission. And of course, perimeter landscaping, as you can see in your applicant packet. The project includes 55 off-street parking spaces that are comprised of both bay parking along Airport Center Drive and a parking lot which takes access off of Airport Center Drive. 40% of the required parking spaces are proposed as compact, which is allowed by the off-street parking ordinance, and bike racks are also proposed. The hours of use are proposed to be from 6 to 11, 7 days a week. As noted, this parcel is located on the Agua Caliente Band of Kuya Indians Reservation. However, it's owned in fee simple status by the project proponent. It is also located in compatibility zones C and E of the Palm Springs Airport Land Use Compatibility Master Plan. And you'll find in your conditions of approval that there are conditions from ALUC that they put on this project that will be followed by the applicant when this does go forward and develop. The project is a permitted use in this zone, as noted in the bottom of page 2 of your staff report. Further on in your staff report, there are some existing conditions, and I'm going to flip over to some images now, if I may. Uh-oh, I just killed it. What did I do?
Here,
Did it back up? I don't know what I did to cause that. Oh, there it is. There, you got it. Do I need to put this one?
No, it's either this one, if you want to keep going.
The arrows.
Yes.
Okay. So here's what I've already explained to you. Here is the site within its context, and you can see there are some self-storage facilities in the general vicinity of the project site, as well as some open and vacant parcels. This is what I've basically explained to you. The general plan land use designation is neighborhood community commercial, and the project conforms to the general plan land use. The zoning is M1. The project is a permitted by right use in that zone. The project, as we've analyzed in the staff report, conforms to all development standards. And as I mentioned, if the project is approved this evening, the director will also approve the administrative minor modification for the reduction in off-street parking. Whoops. So this is basically a summary of, as I've already given you, the amenities, ticketing kiosk, bike racks, drinking fountains, and so on. Here are some aerial images of the project taken from the various street frontages with the beautiful Rocky Mountains in the background. And these are some details. These are some details of the court areas themselves. A couple of extra details of the building, the concessions building, and there is an entry pavilion that is demarcated by that square-shaped building with the hip roof, which demarcates the entrance into the whole facility. Operating plan we've talked about. This is a private recreational club that will be owner-operated, open to the public via memberships. Days and weekend passes will be available for visitors. Staffing is anticipated 3 or 4 staffing persons per shift. And as he mentioned, they have on-site prepackaged grab-and-go refreshments and sandwiches and the like. So here's your site plan. So as you are looking at this, the image to the streets to the north is Airport Center Drive. There you can see the bay parking. The bay parking is proposed to be in a colored pigmented concrete in a sand color, similar to what you see there in the background color between the courts. And as you know, bay parking in commercial and residential areas is required to either have pavers or be colored in pigmented concrete. The parking lot you can see there on the right side of this image takes its access off of Airport Center Drive and has the code-required trees for shading of the parking lot. Here is the landscape plan, and we've asked the applicant, and they have agreed to put a generous quantity of shade trees on the site, both around the parking areas as well as the frontages along Ramon Road, and they have a variety of trees that you can see also there in the landscape plan. There's a combination as well of shrubs and ground covers. And the project, as it went through Planning Commission, there were some concerns about the noise from these courts. And they did a noise study, and they found that there was a need for some noise mitigation, which they have agreed to do. It's done via a product called
Acoustifence?
Thank you, Acoustifence. And they have a sample of that material. If you'd like to see it, we can pass it around in a moment. The nuisance light potential has been mitigated. They have asked through the CUP for some of their lighting posts to be a little closer to the property lines than the code requires for sports courts. And through the presentation of the photometric site plan, they have conformed to the requirements for cutoff angle shielding, and light does not spill onto the surrounding adjacent parcels. So our recommendation is for approval. The findings are outlined in your staff report. Our recommendation is that you approve the project based on the findings in the staff report, subject to the conditions of approval. And I believe that completes my staff report. I have some samples here that they've provided for us that I'm going to pass along. This brown color is the color that will be the split-face concrete block on the perimeter walls. The gray that you're going to see is the precision block that they're proposing for the building itself in an unpainted finish. And they've brought this surface in, which is a ground face version of the precision block that they offer as a possible, not that side, the other side. There you go. As a consideration for possibly some accent areas if the ARC feels it would be necessary.
Accent areas in the building?
Pardon?
In the building or on the wall?
On the wall. The exterior of the building is the precision face concrete block.
So this would be mixed with the split face
They
wall.
could, it's not proposed that way, but they offered it as something for you to consider. Right now, it's simply proposed as the monolithic gray precision block. That concludes my staff report. The applicant is here in the audience if you have any questions of them, and I'm available to answer any questions as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Lyon. Any questions of staff? Yes.
I have a couple of questions. So on the north side where the bay parking is located, there's currently a sidewalk there?
Yes, and the sidewalk, as you'll see on the site plan, has to be brought in front of that bay parking.
So it's brought around the front of the
I think you
parking?
can see it on my version of the images.
Okay, that was my question. Where did it go? And I guess the other one is, I did some quick math that if you have 16 courts with 4 people playing on them and 4 staff members, I think my math is 68 people potentially that need parking,
If they were to all come in separate cars, you mean?
which is completely possible. The other 13 people are parking on the street. Is that the
They
idea?
can park in the street, yes. Airport Center Drive is a fully available for on-street parking. I'm trying to see if I can get to the site plan here that shows that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Questions of staff?
I do.
Questions of staff?
Ken, is there a number of toilets that needs to be provided according to how many people you, at maximum you would have?
That would be a building code question, and I don't have the answer to that. But they would have to require whatever number of parking or toilet spaces would be required by the building code.
Because there's 3 now.
All right, Member Walsh?
Mr. Lyon, on the parking, can you tell us the exact deficiency? What is required and what are they proposing?
Okay. Give me a second, and I can give you
They're
that.
proposing
I think it's 55 that they're proposing. Let's make it the numbers rather than guess. There's 60 required and 55 are proposed.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question. Has engineering taken a look at this?
Yes.
What are they doing with the nuisance water that is hitting these impervious areas? Is there?
If you look at the, there's a site plan that shows it, it's in our packet here. But underneath the parking area are going to be stormwater detention vaults.
Okay.
It's on one of the packets. one of the
It's in this
exhibits
one
your
right here.
packet.
You can see it on the, under the parking.
Yeah, there you go. So if you can see these areas here, these are the detention vaults that will be beneath the parking lot.
And that covers 100% of sort of the first flush, is that, or,
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Walsh?
Another question, Mr. Lyon. With respect to its path through the approval process, allowing 5 hearings, where is this on its odyssey?
Pardon?
Where is this on its odyssey?
There have been 2 meetings of the planning commission. We did not do another meeting after that, I think, did we?
No.
So I think we're at meeting number 3 today.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Lyon, if somebody from the neighborhood to the south, say a family, were to walk over to this facility, where would they cross Ramon Road?
Well, there's a signalized light at the intersection to the west of Avenida Evelita and another signalized intersection to the east.
So about equidistant?
They would, this is roughly right in the middle, yeah. Let me see if I can pull up the site plan that shows the greater.
That's one right near the gas station.
Car wash?
Car wash, yeah.
The aerial photo would show it.
Yeah, there you can see, well, it doesn't include, you can see a little bit of where the other 2 side streets are, but
Okay.
it's kind of in the middle.
We can see crosswalks on the western, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, more questions of staff?
Just a quick
Yeah.
question. I can't remember if it's this one or the one that comes after, but do I recall, is there anything regarding solar in this presentation?
There is nothing that I recall on this, and I don't remember if there's a requirement for the building code or not. So I don't know for certain.
And the parking is unshaded, is that accurate?
The parking is shaded by trees.
By trees?
Along the same lines, is there any city requirements for any of the pickleball courts to be shaded, a percentage of those?
No.
Okay. Any further questions of staff before we bring the applicant up? Seeing none, would the applicant like to make a presentation? Yeah, come on up.
Is there any question about it? We have a rendering here that shows the materials up close.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah, bring it on up.
I got it. I'm actually bring that up. Let's start with this. This one shows the material set very well.
Hi. Thank you for hosting us.
Yeah, come on up. Have
Go
a
ahead and
seat.
state your name and your relationship to what the project is.
My name is Cliff Teston, and I am, I guess, the developer, and this is my project. I love pickleball. I think there should be more access to it in Palm Springs. I know that Palm Springs itself has some public courts, but I want to add some amenities that the city hasn't included in their projects. So restrooms close by, concession, and a staff that's on board all the time that it's open so that people can, fully experience pickleball, whether they're a beginner or whether they've been around for 20 years playing the game. So I love it. I'm excited about it. It's been a very long process.
Can you state your address for us, please?
My home address, 504 Capella Court, Palm Springs,
Palm
California.
Springs, okay. You're local.
I am local.
Good deal.
And I've owned property here for almost 30 years,
Okay.
more than 25 years. So, but now I'm a permanent resident, and this is where I live.
All right. And the rest of your team?
I'm Mark Stewart. I'm the senior architect, and I've been practicing architecture in California for over 10 years, in general for about 40. So, but my address right now is 605 Ridgecliff Drive, New Braunfels, Texas.
Okay. Welcome.
Hello, my name's Max Stewart, son of Mark Stewart, and I've been practicing with my father since 2020, and I'm recently about to take some of the architecture exams myself and become a licensed architect in California.
All right. Who would like to tell us a little bit more about the project, or if there's anything that the staff report missed?
I don't mind highlighting some of the material set that we have. You can see on this rendering here, I'll come around here. But we've got a club aesthetic masonry surrounding wall that has a split face decorative bottom and a metal top. And then around two sides of on the Ramon side on the metal, we use a attenuation fabric, that Acoustifence, and that was to attenuate the noise going across Ramon over to the residential neighborhood on the other side of Ramon. And we've met the noise attenuation criteria with that. But the black material that's attached to that metal fence, it still provides a very club-like, high-end aesthetic. And I could show you other renderings, but on the outside of that masonry fence, very typical for what you see in Palm Springs, we have that multi-layered and multi-level presentation of landscaping between that masonry fence and the road. We wanted the contrasting simple finished block. We used gray for the clubhouse and the concession stand clubhouse, whatever you want to call it. But this, we wanted that to be simple, so it's a contrasting background to, for instance, the glass doors, the glass storefront, the signage, and the landscaping around it. So it's a simple background to be a contrasting material. Inside, you go inside the restrooms, and we have full stone panels, very high-end, elegant panels. And it gives, again, a contrasting, the block is a contrasting material that's a backdrop to the high-end material that's accent. It's an accent material. And then we brought over the entire facility a big shade cover for folks to sit under and view the activity. And those are the highlights of it. But the owner, Cliff picked out the orange and the blue pattern for the courts. It's very pleasing on the eyes. And it's something that really stands out in my opinion. And surrounding the courts is a decorative railing, not an inexpensive railing, a nice railing. And then the walkways themselves are colored concrete, so they have a nice appeal to it. Soft on the eye, and then also on the sun reflection. So here's we have a high-end recessed downlight for the lighting fixtures. And top of the line, what it does is only directs the light downward, but does it in a manner that provides the adequate level of lighting that we're looking for competitive play surfaces. That's it in a nutshell.
Anything further to add?
Just a quick question. The acoustic fence that you talked about, Mr. Stewart, will that wrap just on Ramon, or will it wrap all the
It
way around?
only needs to go on Ramon. The other two sides facing the airport and didn't need it because of the adjacency of criteria. And then the wall that separates immediate property to the west, that wall is 8-foot tall solid masonry. So that's how we achieve sound attenuation parcel to parcel.
So if you look south of the project, you'll notice that across the street from Ramon is commercial use. So we really don't have any residential neighbors on any side of us, but if you go across Ramon, which of course you know is 6 lanes at that point, and then go behind the commercial property, there are a couple of residential properties which we will be hyper concerned to make sure we mitigate noise. I think we've overdone it with these products. I don't think noise will reach them, considering we are by the airport and across Ramon, but on the off chance that somebody might be up, we might start play early or might play to 11. Hopefully, the courts will be busy all the time. We've done a great deal to mitigate any potential noise problems. So very confident in that, which is what the Planning Commission asked us to do, is do those studies to make sure that we are compliant.
All right, well, let's open it up for committee members. Questions of the applicant?
On this material, do you know what its heat retention or how it's going to fade in the sun, what it might look like?
So
in the
those
future?
are all the questions asked my architects when they found us
The
this
manufacturer
provider. Yeah.
that produces this product out of Florida, and they've been using it for decades down there. And I had the same questions to them, how does it hold up? But first off, the color pigmentation is solid all the way through. It's not just a surface layer. It's a high-density polyethylene type of product, very high density. And I've got pictures that show it 10 years later, and it still has this nice
This
look.
kind of a
Heat,
environment.
I know, I was gonna say.
In a hot sun environment. And the manufacturer stands behind the product. Now, there's something about this product.
So,
too that-
and you're saying in 10 years, that's going to look the same color?
That's what the examples that I've seen
Okay.
of its performance characteristics. It's got a good 10-year look. Now, this can be painted.
Okay.
Member Elliott, do you have any experience with this?
Only sort of superficial. I looked into it for a project that didn't ever materialize, so I didn't. I just know the name. That feels like it would stop a bullet, though.
It's very dense.
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Further questions of the applicant?
How is it attached to the fence?
With these grommets, it's attached.
Attaches to the grommets.
No, these grommets, see these types of grommets like this, they're strategically placed on there for it to attach to the metal fencing.
With like metal clips.
With a fastener that they've got, a proprietary fastener that they sell.
And then the size of the individual pieces of acoustic fence?
They run the full height. We got a 6-foot fence, and so they'll run the entire 6-foot lengths.
What about the width?
Well, it comes in a 6-foot roll, and we can roll it out strategically across that entire, I think we had about 200
And what
foot of
happens
fence.
when the wind gets hold of it?
That's what these gusset, these fasteners will rigidly attach it on there. The examples that we've seen where it's been placed have been through hurricanes and it survives. And there's enough grommets on there to keep it from flapping.
Is that an indication of the position of the grommet to the edge of the panel?
Yeah, these are along the edges.
So it's that close to the edge of the panel?
Well, it would be on one edge, but then it would be strategically placed, across its cross-section as it's attached. So
So-
there'd be these grommets.
So say that's a post on one side, so how many times does the grommet repeat? How often? And how?
It approximates the spacing of the support post.
So is that 6 feet, 8 feet?
That's
10 feet?
around, that's closer to 8 feet, so. And they run the full length of it.
Yeah, I would just make one suggestion that you set that on the prevailing wind side so it gets pushed into the fence versus, trying to hold on to the fence as it's blown away. So that would be on the north side on your south fence, the one against Ramon Road, you'd place it on the inside, not the outside.
Yeah, so
That was the intent.
that's where we were planning on
Yeah.
putting it.
Yeah, we were
Just
gonna place this
making
on the
sure.
inside.
Yeah.
And then too, that also presents to the public view, you can see the metal and appreciate it.
What color's the metal?
Black.
If you can see it.
Yeah.
Black on black. Any other questions of the applicant?
Couple questions. I don't play pickleball. I've played a couple of times, but living here, do you think you need any shading? Like, do you ever play during the summer here?
Okay, so I contemplated covering a few of the courts originally, but the cost goes up exponentially. And so it is a potential project for me to add shading to some of the courts, but I've found consistently with everybody I play with, they want to be outside. They're in Palm Springs. They're not really here to be indoors playing pickleball. So covered is a serious option for me going forward. But enclosed, the one in Palm Desert just closed, went out of business. The only enclosed pickleball courts in Palm Desert.
Well, that and Pharaohs, right, so.
Pharaohs, I guess I'm not familiar with their project,
Yeah,
but
the gym.
Pickle Bar, yeah. Pickle Bar is the one that closed recently. So, yes, I would like to cover some of the courts at some point, maybe the 3 on the west side that are still competitive, because the 3 in the middle are recreational because we needed to be able to get around
Yeah.
with walkways and stuff.
I'm just curious, is like, it's 16 courts during, like, the middle of summer, are people playing? And do you want, not fully enclosed, but maybe some shade
I
structures?
love it. It's a cost item for me.
Okay.
But I think that the hours of operation solve a great deal of the problems with the heat of the day, because my clientele, the people that I work with and play with and speak with,
Yeah.
they want to be able, can we play earlier in the morning? Can we play a little bit later at night? So, because they are here during the summer, some of them.
Yeah.
A lot of people escape, so.
Yeah. Second question is, what is above, see where the sign Pickle Park Palm Springs, what is above that? Is that just like housing for AC units?
It's a viewing deck. All the AC units will be back behind, I'll let you answer these questions. It's a viewing deck, so that you could actually go there, play, or
And
go
view.
and watch your friends and sit up, at a table.
Which I loved by the left side, how you have that sort of gate. I just wondered, the concrete that goes all the way up on the one side, like if you could still see the players, that would be great. So it's like a whole kind of level. It feels a little bit like Kentucky Derby, like you're standing up there watching the horses go around. Anyway, and then, sorry, last question was the toilets. The way they're spaced out now, there's like 2 large ones kind of facing each other. Have you ever thought about just like switching them around so you get 2 in each bathroom as opposed to, you know what I mean? I don't know if we can go to that slide, Ken, but.
Yeah, go to that slide. No, we certainly meet the code, in the International Building Code. And we have the number of toilets for the number of people. So we do that.
There's three and three and a urinal. I'm just wondering, the two that are sort of at the end of the building flanking, you could do four, right? And make the doors, they're pretty large. Anyway, just a suggestion, I guess.
I
Just
don't
wondered if
have-
you thought of that.
I don't have that slide in the deck here.
It is in
62 of 101.
Yeah, it's just not in this deck.
Actually, let me see, because I included a bunch of extra ones here toward the end. Hold on.
While he's pulling that up, could I ask a separate question?
Yes.
Did you want me to go back? Or you want me to get to the floor plan?
Floor plan, if you got it. Stay on that.
I just had a question about first aid. Do you have a first aid station or something on site?
I need to probably have a doctor on site for pickleball. Everybody,
I know pickleballers are keeping the orthopedic surgeon.
yes, keeping
I'm just
them
curious
busy.
if there is a first aid station or booth or.
I think it would be wise for me to train my staff and to have first aid available. No question.
I would highly recommend some type of a first aid station if you have room to, because there will be obviously accidents.
Ken, wouldn't that be a requirement of a place like this?
I can't hear you.
Wouldn't that be
Wouldn't a first aid
requirement?
station be required from, I'm not sure, from building or planning or somebody else? Wouldn't that be a
It might be
requirement?
a building code requirement, I don't know.
For the fire department or
I
something?
don't know.
Kind of like what the tennis stadium has them throughout?
It's not a question I can
Gyms
answer.
either.
I wanted to ask if you could tell us a little bit about why you chose the hip roof that covers this whole thing versus, you know, you're showing in your adjacencies these funky
Sheds.
roofs and, you know, like why the hip roof?
We're going for a club aesthetic.
Okay,
The hip roof with the tile, with the red material was a more, it was for a club-like aesthetic
okay.
as opposed to a more industrial type aesthetic.
And then you have like one little pavilion at the entry to the courts, right? That's like, I don't know, seems like 100 feet tall maybe? I don't know, it's like gigantic
24.
looking, yeah. Why the proportion on that?
To mark the entry, so that you know where the entry is as you're looking, as you're approaching the facility, you know, hey, that's where I enter.
And consistency architecturally.
Yeah, and consistency architecture, we wanted all the roofing
To be the same
to
level?
be a similar level and a similar material and a similar shape.
Is there a reason why
I don't think you
the,
can.
I call it the canopy over the concession stand
Oh, it's actually
is sitting independent of the building?
Because it's much larger than the building is much smaller than the canopy, so it
I don't think you understood.
envelopes it all around.
It's sort of like
It
a hat,
provides
it's like a hat
additional-
on the building or an umbrella on the building.
Yes, and it becomes a shading element then, not just for the building, but the area around it.
Probably only for the rooftop. I don't think
Well,
that's
it
gonna
actually
throw a lot of
extends a
shade
good
on the
considerable
building
amount
itself.
over the size of the building.
does.
It's a
It
good
does.
6 or so feet beyond the exterior walls of the building.
Was there any dialogue around kind of making it a little bit more mid-century modern with the angles of the roof? Like if you think about the Welcome Center as you come into town, the traditional mid-century, did you guys have any conversation around that? And
We actually did, and I
We
can answer
explored
this one
that.
for you, Mark.
Go ahead.
So the building behind us has a more mid-century modern, and it's popped up, and it was the first ideas that we originally talked about were very similar to that. But this is southern exposure. So if you have that popped up roof like the building behind us does, which is a little more mid-century modern, you're never going to shade yourself from the sun. So it was a little bit more for the convenience and enjoyment of my patrons to give them shade. That's how we landed on that. Please jump in if you.
No, that's exactly it. That and the
Okay.
club aesthetic.
did you want to say
Oh,
something?
yes, I also wanted to add that those shade covers are also an excellent opportunity for lighting at night, keeping a lot of the light pollution, contained and focused on the building and the entry.
And the areas around the building, like the
Yeah.
bathrooms and the ticketing, the grab and go, and the staff offices. And certainly we would entertain that one of the staff offices could be fitted for first aid considerations.
All right. I think what I'm going to do is just go around one last time to each member see if there's any more questions, then we'll start our deliberations. Member Walsh?
I have questions on your key piece of architecture there that's really going to kind of dominate the site. If I walk underneath the shade structure of the building and I look up, in some of the section drawings, I saw there is some roof, some ceiling, but it's not showing here. What is it and where is it? And when I'm not looking at that, what am I seeing that's ribbed? Is that more metal?
It's metal, it's the metal.
So is there a thickness to this roof? I'm not seeing the backside of the roof material when I look up there, correct?
Right, you're seeing a different metal.
Okay, so it's a sandwich of some
It is a
sort?
sandwich,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So then when I'm inside there and I look up more toward the center, you have a flat ceiling?
No, it's a metal panel that follows.
All the way up, it does this when I look up. Okay, because I
So
see,
it's pitched.
it looks like there are trusses up there that give you a flat ceiling for a portion. Did I misunderstand the drawings? It's in your section drawing.
Is there a ceiling plane under the roof?
Are you looking on sheet 16?
That metal panel goes directly to the bottom of the structure.
So
I'm on-
there's a metal ceiling plane at the eave level. Is that correct?
It follows the outline of the truss. We have some cross sections of that.
Wait, yeah, it's your sheet 16.
I think it's just where it's cut, maybe.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things. Do we trust these guys that their structure is going to look appreciably like what we're seeing? Because what we're seeing implies that there is an internal interstitial structure. There's hip beams going up that are sandwiched between the upper roof deck and the ceiling. And all those things are happening above that perimeter.
That
Rim
that
beam.
over, that roof that sits, there's the structure of the concession stand itself with the.
Yeah, we're just
it
talking
has
about the
its
hat on
own
top, yeah.
structure. This completely sits on top of that,
With its internal structure inside the
inside the metal stand.
metal.
And there's no ceiling.
Well, there's a ceiling, it's just sloped with, it matches
Okay,
the,
because I just.
No drop ceiling.
I'm seeing a.
it's not a
flat-
flat ceiling, it follows the profile of the hip.
And I only asked because as I was trying to figure out
It's
how
hard to
this
see
thing puts together, I do see in your section 16 that there is a flat ceiling of some sort in there.
Well, the building itself has a relatively flat ceiling, it has a slope to it for drain, but it's, that's,
I think you're looking at the concession stands roof.
the air-conditioned concession stand has a roof and a ceiling of its own.
Okay, maybe
This
that's
thing
it.
sits on top of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's what you're looking at. So
When-
it's basically the hat.
When,
This is a hat that goes over the
So that's-
entire
that's the
Got
roof right there.
facility.
and when this happens, the chopsticks, at the bottom, what is that that's kind of, there's a monument or some mass that's resolving that?
Those steel pipes.
Yes.
Of the V, right, they come through a well-crafted steel.
Thing.
Base
It has a
plate.
base plate with a top on it so that
Got
they
it.
elegantly bolt there, they're not just sticking in the concrete. We
Okay.
wanted something to receive those pipes that was
Yes.
architectural.
And your tube steel, those, just to give me a sense of it, what are those, like 8 by 8 or something?
They're in approximately that size, they're somewhere between 6 and 8 inches. We've had all that engineered
Yeah,
structurally, so.
yeah, okay.
Are they required structurally? Are these, as Member Walsh called them chopsticks, are they required structurally?
Well, you could accomplish the same thing with more columns, but this gets it a more discrete,
Does it repeat itself on the north side?
it does not. On the other side?
Yeah, what's the support on the north side?
Actually, it
You
does
see it in
repeat
this
itself.
elevation that's
Yeah,
on
it
the
does.
screen.
It
It's
does.
there, you can see it.
It
Yeah, you can
repeats
see it.
itself
Okay.
on both sides for
Go for it.
consistency.
No, it's if you-
You're just gonna have,
It gave it a more open appeal and still gave us the spacing we needed to keep our beam to a reasonable size that it.
And my last question, I promise, is that there's like a shading device that protrudes out the black line. Tell me what that is, what's it made of, how thick is it?
Well, it's an aluminum awning, and it's 8 inches thick, and it goes out 3 feet.
Okay.
It's meant to go above the doors and the windows around the concession building. Kind of give it like a
Yeah. and
defined eyebrow.
It does two things. One is it gives additional shading for the glass for sun exposure. And the other thing it does is bring to attention that this is where you go into the bathrooms and this is where you go in to see staff or
Yeah.
do.
Is there any integral lighting in that?
There is.
Down lighting?
Yeah.
What did you say the material was?
That's aluminum metal with a steel frame inside of it.
Member Thomas, any further questions?
No, sir.
Member Thompson?
No.
One last question. I just wanted to make sure, when I was talking about the usage of the roof space, this part,
It's
Is that-
it's not going to be, it's
Used
not
for
for
seating.
seating. It's not.
it's not. What is it used for then?
Mechanical.
Mechanical. Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Member Elliott?
Yes, just one. I'm seeing planting coming from that roof area. It's not showing up anywhere else.
That's, we say mechanical, right, but we would also introduce some planting like you see there in that same area for aesthetics.
So it's in like a parapet planter or something
And a
like that?
parapet planter that we would have.
Drained
up
and
there.
irrigated?
It would be, yes. And matter of fact, that whole roof has a drainage system on there. Even though it's under a canopy, it still is designed to receive water and drain to an interior drain that we have in there.
Member Dillon?
Good.
All right. I've got just one clarifying question. So is the red upper roof material, is that barrel tile or is it flat metal panel?
It's a metal panel.
Yes.
Okay.
It's metal panel.
Okay. Painted that color with Kynar paint, something that just,
It actually has a factory applied finish
okay.
of that color.
All right. Well, we thank you guys. Please have a seat in the audience and
Should I leave this up here? Or?
Sure.
sure, might not be able to see you if you leave it up there.
So this could be good for you.
All right, let's, committee discussion. Anybody want to start?
Sure.
I don't get the roof, sorry.
I'll go.
I just jumped right in
I'm
there. but
No,
I-
go
saying,
ahead.
I get big concerns about the roof, and that there's nothing that says Palm Springs about this structure to me at all, and I am not into it.
Good.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just, I don't quite get the roof, and I don't love the way that there's like a 2/3 or 3/4 surround on the outside columns. That, I don't know. There's a few little gremlins in there for me that causing me some.
Okay, gremlins.
I love the whole idea of it, the pickleball court idea. I think it's amazing. I think it's gonna be great for the city. It just, none of the design says Palm Springs to me at all, especially in that covered area. Like, that's the only area that would be able to signify Palm Springs. It just, yeah, needs some more mid-century something to it.
It feels like a rest stop.
Yeah,
I know that sounds really harsh.
I would only caution you that we are more than just a mid-century city. We do have Spanish colonial revival, Mediterranean revival. We have many buildings around town with hip roofs made out of both standing seam metal as well as clay tile. And not everything here has to be mid-century modern.
I agree. It could be, there could be some Spanish elements, there could be some Mediterranean elements, there could be none of that I see here. I don't see, I'm very familiar with all of the styles of houses and stuff built in Palm Springs, and this screams Texas, Florida to me. Sorry.
I'm gonna say that I like it, and I don't think that I think that it does work for Palm Springs. I think that it fits perfectly here. But that's just my opinion.
Okay, Member Dillon?
I have a few comments. The first one is, just from a site planning standpoint, have a little bit of a, I'll call it a concern about the way that the project engages the main corner at Ramon. It's sort of a corner of parking, there's some landscaping, but then the entry to the complex is at the north end, sort of tucked inside the space, which is, I understand why the large carillon that's sitting there. I think that entry piece is wildly out of scale with sort of the human experience, that when you have something that's 24, 25 feet tall, for somebody like me who's not even 6 feet tall and not really that close to that, that's going to seem overwhelming. And I understand that you're trying to mark that location, but I think maybe part of it is that the location is somewhat buried in the site itself. From the street on Ramon, a 6-foot concrete block split face wall with a metal fence with a black rubber acoustic pad on top of it. It's not the most attractive thing in the world, be that as it may. I think the canopy over the building is overwhelming it. I don't think that the building itself is necessarily a bad design, and I don't mean this as a negative comment, but I think there's something potentially kind of cool Route 66 about the building, that sort of a diner, sort of roadside building that it could be, and it's sort of leaning in that direction with this little projection off the face of it that, in my mind, I think could maybe extend past the building and be the canopy for the seating on the west side of the building. This large hipped roof over the top, the disconnect of that from the building seems really odd to me. And I think the proportions of it are odd. The building itself I actually kind of like. I think it would be more interesting if it weren't gray block. But I think the building itself has some potential as it is. It's really a nice little building. But that roof on it, it's like a giant hat sitting on top of it, and I feel like it's visually overwhelming it. And then the entry canopy. So I feel like the height of that entry canopy, maybe we talked about the idea of the hip roof shape, but I think that entry pavilion, if it's done right, the height of it isn't the most important thing. If you're marking an entry to a place, overscaling something is an easy solution, but probably not the best. So somehow being more creative about the way that you demarcate that entry, I think would be a really interesting design exercise. And I think if it leads to this building that is expressed differently without this giant tent over the top of it, I think it could be a really special progression through the site, through the entry, down this walk to this building that's a little jewel of its own. But I think that roof overwhelms that building.
Member Thomas.
I think that was well said for me. I love the idea of this, and I would love to see this come to fruition. I do find the building somewhat uninteresting. It feels like a large cement block. I don't know if it's a function of the type of block that it is or the color of the block, but it feels very industrial. I do feel like the courts have wonderful color and it's really beautiful, and then I feel like I'm stopping at a rest stop to run in to use the bathroom. It just feels like it lacks personality, and in a town with buildings where personalities are very important. It doesn't have to be mid-century, I would agree with that, but it feels like just a big block. And I agree that the canopy above it, I like the idea of it because I think it's a wonderful shade structure. I'm just not overwhelmed by the design of it.
Member Walsh.
I am still stuck back at the parking. Right now, there is across the street from this EOS gym, and that parking lot is packed with people circling, starting at like 6 a.m. And it just seems to be disconnected from the reality, the parking reduction that has been sought here. I don't know what to say about it because that's a huge site planning element, but the reality is it's tight on that street, and you wouldn't suspect it because of the industrial nature there, but you throw in that gym that's used intensely. So that's kind of a problem that I don't see is worked out. I think, but from an adjacent usages standpoint, it's a great location. Rare does that pop up, where you have adjacencies that really aren't going to be tormented by light and noise and things like that. So good fit in terms of that, but I just worry again about the parking. It doesn't seem to be solved. Okay, on the building itself, part of the problem, and I just can see it in a minute, is you've got like a 4 and 12 roof slope. That's pretty steep, and this is the land of shallow roof slopes, and it can begin to de-emphasize the massing and the problem people I think are having with it. If you were to look at like a 3 and 12 or a 2.5 and 12, it would turn into a different thing altogether. The other thing about the roof is, I applaud the size of it with respect to the sun control. But as we know, when you look at your sun studies, the higher that roof goes, the less effective it is. And right now, we're looking at a west elevation that is a cooker at about 3 in the afternoon. And it just there needs to be more to it, or just for its final shape to be influenced by some sun studies if they haven't been done. But it's pretty clear that you're going to get sun penetration into all of those spaces, and it's really not going to get you much bang for the buck of this large structure that has been created to do that. The vertical supports, I think, it would look a lot more like a successful piece of architecture if there was consistency on the vertical supports. I'm kind of confused about the halfway up a block that surrounds that, and then you've got some angled supports and some are straight. If you're going to do it,
You're talking about the hat?
I'm speaking of the vertical supports.
That's supporting the hat.
Yes, that supports the hat, yes. And it's like kind of, you go one way or the other with this thing and help it be a complete piece of architecture. And then the last thing, and I'll just stop talking, is, the entry there just kind of looks very disproportionate. That is huge. I mean, it's been a while since I've done anything. What is it, 22 feet tall or something? It's looming, and I don't think it does the overall building any favors. And I think that through signage and proportion and change of material, I think that you can make an entrance very viable, very understandable, without reaching to make that so tall. I hope that was constructive.
It was. All right. Sounds like we're heading towards a motion here, and it likely is going to be some level of restudy. I'm going to add a couple of comments. One thing that you guys should look at is an architect that was very prominent here in Palm Springs named William Cody. And William Cody built a really great home here in Palm Springs called the Abernathy House. And he had a combination of a hip roof that then flattened out at the edges. So you guys might call it a Bermuda type roof, where it's hip and then it flattens out. And if you did that, I think it would bring the scale of this thing down. So take a look at what William Cody did at the Abernathy House. I'm going to agree with every member that said you've got some proportion and scale issues here. That entry piece, because nobody's standing underneath it and nobody's pulling their keys out and jiggling to get in, and they need protection from the sun or rain there. It could be something a lot lighter. It could just be a trellis element with something that's either growing over the top of it, or it's just a trellis element at 8-9 feet above one's head. Could go up to 10 feet, but the scale of that is, it's enormous. I'm also going to ask that, I think Member Walsh had a good comment, so you have a combination concrete pilaster with a steel column sticking through it. And if you did the same things that you had with the chopsticks, if those columns went off at a 45-degree angle going in either direction, then the language would be more consistent. Either that center chopstick would come up to a similar pilaster with columns on top of it, and then those would splay out, and then the corners would take off splayed. Then I think the language of this would be more consistent. I think what we're seeing is some mid-century elements structurally, the chopsticks, the kind of exposed steel pieces that are going on, the building itself using concrete block, which has a great history of durability and long use here in the desert. So you've got some things here, but they kind of need to be tightened up just from I'll call it kit of parts. Like, how do you reuse pieces in this building so that there's a clarity of language? And I think my last comment is going to be on the most visible facade of this building, which is the south facade, is just so busy. And I think that's the comments of the rest stop aren't too far off. There's the doors to the restrooms, then there's the concession windows, then there's a big screen TV. What also is going to pop up is some kind of member board saying, hey, I play on Tuesday afternoon looking for people to play with, something where members can communicate to themselves. So I think that facade is going to get really busy, and I would move those bathroom doors over to the west side. And it would clarify that front facade in a way that, yes, then a TV kind of lives in a location where maybe it doesn't feel like there's traffic and so many things going on. There could be any number of announcement boards and things that go up there for members. If you're going to control it from an operational point of view, but you really want that facade to be welcoming, warm, and have the information that you want. And I don't think it really is served by having the bathroom doors there with the concession storefront and all the other pieces going on. All right. Yes.
We apparently have somebody in the waiting room that did not have a chance to speak. Are they still wanting to speak?
But not for this item. It's for the second item.
Oh, I'm sorry. Scratch that.
Okay.
My misunderstanding.
All right. Does anybody want to venture a motion? Member Walsh.
I will, and it's just because I was trying to take notes, and I know you were too, so watch me if I've got everything here. I would make a motion to send this for restudy with emphasis on a series of elements that we've discussed and brought up here this evening. And on the parking as a number one, what can I request, Mr. Lyon? Is this a fait accompli, or is it something that needs further study?
Well, the parking is related to the aspect of site and arrangement of the site, so it's really the matter of the planning commission.
And so that should not be mentioned in this?
It's not something that you would really be handling in terms of asking for more or less.
Okay, all right. Okay, so number two, I would say a restudy of the existing building massing and roof. And under that would be the design, the size, the nature of the vertical supports, the shape, slope of the roof. I don't think anybody had a problem with material on the roof. Okay. Some studies that would show the effectiveness or lack thereof and how to fix it with respect to the height of the roof and its size. The next thing would be, I would call it a need for unification of the south elevation so these elements look discrete and as though they're unified visually.
What elements are you talking about?
The doors to the restroom,
Okay.
primarily, it's kind of a mix of everything that, I could.
Support structure?
Does that tie to member O'Donnell's
Yes.
comment about moving them to the west side?
Yes.
And consistency of language in terms of the support columns?
Yes.
Okay, clarify that, because I want to be concise so that this applicant walks
Absolutely.
away understanding what clarity of language means.
Okay. Consistency of detailing, if you have elements of a particular vertical dimension, they match the ones that are next to it.
So like as, again, member O'Donnell was saying, the two in the middle are splayed, and somebody had used the word splaying them at the corners. Is that what you're talking about?
Help.
I think he's talking,
Almost-
he's talking dimensionally. So the tube steel is all of the same dimensions, so that the chopstick dimension isn't 6 by 6, and the corner posts are 8 by 8, and
In terms of the diameter of the steel.
they look like they're square, so, yeah.
Are they steel, is the steel column square or round?
It's round.
They're all round?
Oh.
Okay. Are they different
round?
are they different diameter?
They're not round. Are they round?
No, they're not different. They're all the same diameter.
They're all the same diameter.
And they're round?
I thought they were.
They're square.
I understood them as being round. Is your comment about the corners?
So your comment was good.
Well, I just want to get it clear,
As
but
we
is your
sail
comment-
into confusion.
One of you made a comment about splaying them at the corners. So my
They're square.
question is, if you think about a table that has hairpin legs,
Yes.
is that kind of what you're thinking of for
When
those corners?
There are two separate things going on. One is the as I think I mentioned, the design, the consistency, the size of the vertical supports that hold up the roof.
Okay, they're all round columns of the same diameter, so what additional?
I know you think the applicant agrees, but
Okay.
we're just asking for consistency.
I just want to understand it so that I can,
Yes.
so we know that they're being sent away with a clear direction.
Absolutely.
And I don't have a clear direction, so
Okay,
help
so-
me with this.
Consistency that they are all, we're using the term chopsticks, something at an angle, or that they are all vertical.
Okay.
But somehow this mix of the way that the roof is supported one way in this end and a different way in the middle
Okay.
needs fixing.
Consistency of
Okay,
language.
separate from that was the comment about the south elevation. And Mr. Chairman, wasn't there something that you mentioned about the discrete location of the restroom doors?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
moving them to the west
Location
side.
of the bathrooms.
Right, of the doors.
Correct.
Into the bathrooms, right. Okay, did that clarify, Mr.
Yes.
Line? Okay. Okay, so we've done the supports, right?
Are those really round? I'm sorry, I'm struggling on that.
I was talking about it being round.
They are square?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can they're square.
They're
Study
square.
the
Don't
roof.
say round again.
I won't.
And I think unless there's something else, the last thing is, it would be really great if there was further material research that could be shared regarding the Acoustiboard and its success in an installation that has been there for some number of years, and a photograph of how they clip onto the fence so that we are crystal clear in
I'm
terms
going to
of.
push back on this.
Yes.
Because the issue of the Acoustiboard has to be installed according to the manufacturer's specs.
Understood.
It's a product that has been used thoroughly on pickleball courts to deal with acoustical noise from a pickleball court.
I think we're just asking to see what that looks like because we have no visibility into it.
Okay?
In its installed form.
A photograph of it installed.
Yes.
Okay.
And the connections.
There's lots of
how
them. I
that
just put them
works.
up online.
Did I miss anything?
The
I
entry.
just.
Yeah, you
and the
Yeah, the
entrance.
Well,
entry can-
yeah, okay, I think, yeah. Yes, that is actually a separate issue than the main concession building. And that just is a question on a better way perhaps to handle the height. And once again, the vertical supports, looking for consistency with the concession building.
Okay. You are wanting the entry structure to be lower.
Yeah,
Okay. You said to study the height. I want to be more precise than study
Okay.
the height.
All
You
right.
want it lower.
Well, I
Lower
think
the height.
everyone here thinks it will look better if it's lower.
I'm
So-
not questioning you,
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
just wanting you to clarify.
Yes, the
Yeah,
massing is too
absolutely,
high.
and consider
Can
it
you give him a
clarified.
dimension, like say between 9 and 11 feet?
How tall is it now?
20
20-something.
Almost 24.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, all right. Am I done?
Yes, I just have a question.
Well, before you have a question, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second, now discussion.
Well, I was just going to ask if solar control is not mandatory, but I would like to put something in there to ask the applicant to consider some creative ways to increase the solar control on a new structure, whether that's in, you said that already?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, okay,
But
thank you, I missed
Are
it.
you solar electric or solar?
Just shade, it's just some
Shade.
kind of shade.
How do we-
I understand the limitations to start on the courts, but I would like to just consider that. And then the only other question I had was, and then maybe just some consideration for your own benefit, not a concession or a requirement, but just would highly recommend that you guys think through some type of a first aid station on site.
Yeah, okay.
That's all I have.
Any further discussion?
Let me just characterize now what I've got, so I make sure I've got your,
Okay.
your direction. So the existing masonry and roof, the design of the vertical columns, you want made more consistent,
Yes,
so that the columns are consistent, either they're all angled or they're all vertical, but that they are consistent.
correct.
Correct.
And are you also saying that on the building itself, you're looking for the roof to come down slightly? Or was the roof of the building itself not a problem?
If I, to my amazement, see that that roof can offer the level of shade that would be necessary in those spaces around it, the height is fine. But I have my doubts that that is the case, and I think that once the sun study is done on this with that west afternoon sun, we're gonna see that the roof is not as effectual as it could and should be.
Got it.
And
Okay.
Member Walsh, you also had a comment about the pitch.
I did, and I think you got that?
You wanted a lower pitch roof.
Yes.
Okay, then we've got sun studies of the roof, simplifying the angles or the verticals on the columns, moving the toilet room doors to the west, lowering the entry trellis to around
That's what makes it
9
so,
to 10 feet.
Oh, I don't know.
It would be
It's
visible space.
Call it
different.
11, give him some latitude.
Not to be problematic here, but you have to, this is going to come down to the judgment of the person who's laying it out and trying these things in schematic form. So it's kind of hard to just say it's cured if you knock it down to 9 feet.
It's a
I don't
proportional.
know.
Sure,
It's a
I
proportion
understand,
issue,
but,
yes.
but I want to make sure that as we're giving conditions to an applicant,
Yes,
that it's clear enough to them that they understand what you want. Because for them, the height of that entry portico is what they wanted. That's what they
Yeah.
thought was appropriate. So you're saying make something appropriate,
right.
but they feel this is appropriate.
I think what I heard the
Well, I
applicant say.
understand that if you say I want to lower it to some height that makes more sense proportionately.
Could I suggest
I
a
think what
friendly
I-
amendment? Maybe we say a maximum of 12-foot fascia, bottom of the fascia.
Sure.
Yeah, maximum 12-foot bottom of the fascia.
I think what I heard the applicant say was, we made the massing really high because we wanted it to be very clear that this was the entrance to a really great facility. And I think what we're asking is, are there other ways for you to do that beyond just increasing the scale?
I think we're talking about two different things. You're talking about the entry, they're talking about the roof of the structure.
No, we're talking
No,
about the
we're
roof
talking
of the
about the-
entry. We're talking about the roof of the entry.
Yeah.
My mistake.
I would prefer that you go with the direction you're going, rather than to say, come up with something different that demarcates an entrance. To me, that's too vague. So I like the way you're going with this. I want to make sure that the direction that they're getting is understandable, okay? So are you good with that?
So we have the motion maker and the second. Are you guys both okay with the friendly amendment of 12-foot maximum bottom of fascia?
I am, yes, I
Okay,
am.
so Ken?
Yep, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, I've got it all then.
Thank you.
All right.
That was well
Holy
done.
moly.
We got a motion, we got a second. Roll call vote.
Member Dillon.
Yes.
Member Thompson.
Yes.
Member Elliott.
Yes.
Member Roseman.
Yes.
Member Thomas.
Yes.
Member Walsh.
Yes.
And Chair O'Donnell.
Yes, so motion passes unanimously. I hope you guys heard the whole story. We love the idea of what you're doing. Welcome to Palm Springs. Do some modifications that staff will work with you on, and we'll see you back here.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. That was that booming voice from above.
VOG right there.
Okay, item 3B, a request by O2 Architecture on behalf of the property owner for a major development permit application to expand and remodel an existing hotel and restaurant on a 4.23 acre site located at 1973 North Palm Canyon Drive, APN 504-310-033, zone C1-R3, case number AR 2025-0089. And I'm the project architect on this proposal, so I will be recusing myself. Member Walsh, please take over.
Thank you. May we have a staff report to launch this?
Yes. Good evening, committee members. Just to give you a little bit of context of the site, the project is located on a 4.23 acre site, yes, and is located along North Palm Canyon Drive. The lot is split zoned, meaning there are two zoning designations on one parcel. The pink area above is zoned C1 commercial, and the yellow area is zoned R3 multifamily residential. The site was formerly a Days Inn hotel with 107 rooms and is currently vacant. The project is proposing a remodel and expansion to a 179 room hotel. The project complies with the zoning designation and the general plan. The orange areas you see above indicate the buildings and portions of the buildings that are proposed to be demolished. Building A is an existing hotel that will be renovated and expanded from 53 rooms to 59 rooms. Building B is an existing back-of-house building that will be rehabilitated and remain its current use. Building C is a new two-story hotel constructed with 72 rooms. Building D is an existing 29-key one-story hotel which will be rehabilitated and expanded with a second story. And Building E is the proposed new restaurant and lobby which will front Palm Canyon Drive. So the following pages are the proposed elevations for each building. So we have Building A, Building B, Building C, Building D, Building D, and Building E. This building will be facing North Palm Canyon Drive and be the first visible to the public. The proposed colors and materials consist of white and tan stucco to complement the existing stone on the buildings, which will remain. The paving along the front entrance will be stamped concrete in the color scheme shown above, and there's just examples of those colors. Oh, sorry. The roofs on all existing and proposed buildings are flat with mechanical equipment located in the center and screened from the public right-of-way. Building A, however, will be the only building with solar panels to support the entire development. You can see shown above. The proposed landscape plan will consist of an increase of trees and shade throughout the parking lot and the development in whole, so especially in the center of all of the buildings. The proposed landscape palette will be made up of drought-tolerant trees and plants. The trees within the parking lot will, once mature, provide sufficient shade to guarantee at least 50% of the parking lot is covered, which is per code. And here are some renderings of what that landscape will look throughout the site. You've got different sections. The applicant has modified the parking plan to reduce the number of required parking spaces slightly and increase the landscape area along the north and south boundary for planning commission's requests. So here is a rendering driving southbound and a rendering driving north. So Planning Commission approved the project on January 13th, 2006 with the following conditions. The applicant has responded to all conditions and he has even added EV parking spaces to the plan, even though not required. Staff does recommend approval, subject to the conditions of approval. The applicant is available for any comments and questions.
Could you clarify one thing?
Yes.
You had said that they're increasing the number of rooms, but decreasing the amount of parking.
Yes.
Does the thing conform to the city's parking code?
It does conform to the parking code with an AMM, and they will be applying for the administrative minor modification application.
And that's for a 10% reduction?
Yes, and they're not even reaching that, I think, so, yes.
Questions for staff?
I have a question. If we can look at the site plan quickly, I was wondering if during the planning review, if there was a conversation about, actually, the one with just the, that's fine.
Okay.
If there was a conversation about the proximity of the North Drive access and the access to Building E. The
Right.
It
During
seemed
planning
really
commission?
close to me, and I'm just wondering if there was a conversation about the intermingling of traffic coming in and out of the north parking lot, the traffic coming into the one-way drive in front of Building E, the traffic coming down Palm Canyon from the north, and traffic turning into the complex, either one of those drives from Palm Canyon going north. It seems like a choke point to me. And I'm wondering if that conversation happened at the planning level.
During planning commission, it was not brought up. But engineering has reviewed the plans and has approved them.
Alex, are both of those curb cuts for in and out both? Or is one in, one is out? How does this work?
I'll let the applicant clarify, but I believe the first two are in only. And the bottom one is exit to the right.
If you go back to the imagery of the exterior of the building, those three-dimensional, the views up and down Palm Canyon, the one that shows the front of the building, that one from the plans looks like it is entered
It's
going
one way.
north to south. The one just north of it, if you go to the next image, there's a car coming out of that.
Right, that's the exit right turn only.
So that's exit only? So it's enter, so it's exit, enter.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the view at the lower,
South looking north.
at the lower axis.
That's the lower axis.
Building E
So
is
this is
here.
the
Got
southern
it.
axis.
Okay.
Okay.
And may I ask, in the allowed 5 hearings of any project, where does this currently sit?
This would be the second meeting.
Okay, so it's just been to planning commission. Okay.
Too early in the process.
Thanks.
Look out.
Any other questions of staff? Doesn't look like it. May we please hear our presentation from the applicant?
Yes. So I believe there's somebody online that wanted to.
You have the right to speak as applicant first, and then public comment follows.
All right. Well, thank you for having us. Lance O'Donnell, O2 Architecture. Could we look at the site plan? Yeah, that one's perfect. So, in accordance with Planning Commission's suggestion, Planning Commission asked us to look at parking lot shading. And so this is a really good diagram that shows all the various parking that's in and around the site. The site historically started in 1938 with Building B, which is the westernmost building. So in 1938, there was a little motor inn built, and then in the late 50s, Armet and Davis were hired. They were LA architects famous for Googie design. So all of the Denny's restaurants with the typical Denny's facades and some of the other restaurants in Los Angeles, Armet and Davis had designed those. So they were responsible for building A, which is the northernmost building. And that building isn't being touched, nor is Building B. We're adding a couple rooms to those buildings by taking out some internal circulation and moving that circulation to the exterior. Armet and Davis also had a little facade element on Building D, which is the middle building that's just outside the courtyard. So the history of this was 1938. If you look at the aerial photos, if you go outside the building here and you look at the aerial photos, this building is here at the earliest photos when Palm Springs was just incorporated. And being such, there was nothing around it. Just imagine this building there, a motor court drive up to that building, an elevated swimming pool, and a couple little bungalows that sometime between the 1930s and the 1950s went away. So there was nothing out there. And then in the 1950s, they planned an expansion. Still, there's nothing around. The Kaufman House and some other things are around, and things are starting to pop up on North Palm Canyon at this point. But there's no neighbors to the north, there's no neighbors to the west, and there's no neighbors to the south. And Palm Canyon's just a little two-lane road, and you can see it in the photos in the historic study that we did. So we're maintaining these historic structures while adding a third new building, which is that bottom building at the bottom of the image here. So that is an entirely new building with the same proportions massing of Building A, the Armet and Davis early 1960s building. That building's being...
Is that Building C?
That's Building C. And Building C is being pulled away from the property line on the west. So there's an existing building that's there that wasn't an Armet and Davis. Somehow a single-loaded building was placed close to the southern property and all the way over to the west property line, which stopped traffic or stopped the ability for fire to loop around this facility. We have since then improved the site circulation so that working with fire, that fire truck can get in and around, or an emergency vehicle can get around the site now. And so part of the design of the site circulation has to do with making sure that we had fire access all the way around. The purple are compact spaces. Some of those are being included because we have an existing condition. The parking lot that's out in front of Rick's Restaurant is staying. We're repaving. We're adding street tree or tree wells and things to that parking lot to get us the appropriate amount of shading. But you can see the purple compactor pushed further away from the buildings. And then at Planning Commission's suggestion, we're adding additional trees to get some additional shading in the parking areas. If we look at the entry drive, and there's been a couple of questions, yes, the furthest north entry is an existing entry exit today. So the curb cuts are remaining pretty much as they are. And they're in and out, so there'll be circulation coming in and coming out. Then the main driveway under the porte cochere is one way, so it's in only. And so it's a one-way drive down to the parking lot that exists behind Rick's Restaurant. And that repurposed restaurant has another drive that's both an in and out. If one were to go out there and walk on the sidewalk today, what you would see is from the southwest corner, or southeast corner, the lowest corner, there's a curb cut about where those initial purple spaces are. There's a curb cut about where we're showing it. Then when you go up to the center line that leads to Building B, there are 2 more curb cuts in that area. And then there's a little space before you get to the upper curb cut. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 curb cuts now, and we're reducing that to 3. So it's an improvement in the pedestrian circulation along North Palm Canyon. This is Caltrans up in this area, so we're working closely with both the city standards, the street trees that are there along Palm Canyon, we're maintaining. And then we're improving the sidewalk conditions. So behind the street trees, there is a sidewalk flare that allows circulation around those trees. We have a team of consultants and owners that has a lot of experience and depth. So we have, if there are questions, we have Rios Landscape Architects on as our landscape consultant. The civil engineer for the project is Alan Sanborn, Sanborn A&E, a longtime desert architecture and engineering firm. So Alan's been working closely with us on this. We have a really great interiors team with Beyond the West. And we have a development team from the East Coast that has been a joy to work with and is always pushing the aesthetic envelope on this project. So we've been enjoying this all the way along. Accompanying me is Renee, who's with my office and has been moving the project forward. So if there's any technical questions, Renee can help answer those. And if you want to come on up, come on up. So that's pretty much the presentation. We can talk about any questions that you may have of the design, or we can get Rios on to answer any landscape-specific questions.
Do we have any questions for the applicant?
It looks like total number of rooms. Is that, wait, 160?
179.
179, sorry. What is the occupancy at the pool of people?
The occupancy at the pool.
That's my question.
Well, the pool area has several amenities. So there's cabanas that we're showing on the north.
How many people physically can be in the water? There's rules around that, right?
I'm not sure how many people can physically be in the water. Do we know what the square footage of the pool is? Okay.
And
I think my
sense
only
that the pool is a little small for the number of people.
Well, I counted about 50 beds, day beds, and it's a 170-person hotel. So, and yes, the pool feels small, but that's a question.
Yeah, the pool is existing. We are going to repurpose the pool. It is a large resort pool compared to other pools that we see, but there's a separate spa, so there's a pool and separate spa. And then there is an event lawn down below the pool. So there's quite a large open area in and around the pool. And then it obviously leads to the open landscape courtyard experience that takes you back out to the restaurant and lobby.
Any other questions for the applicant?
you talk about the materiality of the new building compared to the existing? Because I noticed in one of the existing, I think it's Building A, these very sort of large angled stone walls.
Let me pull up the elevation. Go to the very first elevation image. Keep going, keep going. Okay. So that upper left-hand image is the existing Armet and Davis facade, and it has that integral color stone. So that integral color stone was the color palette that informed all of the color moves in and around the site. So there's some tan block in there, there's some buff, but it's all very desert neutral. The angles of that stone are indicative of Googie architecture, some of the battered walls and things. We're maintaining that. That was, this project went through Historic Site Preservation Board review. And so we had a quite extensive historic study that was done. And through that, and through identifying the architects and the architecturally significant facades, this was both identified by us early on as something to preserve and something that the Historic Site Preservation Board really loved. So that stone's existing. We are not mimicking that stone with new stone. We're using a slightly different scale and slightly different color stone so that the old 1960s architecture is not misconstrued with 2026 architecture, but there's lots of similarity in color, tone, and desert adapted colors.
In Building A, I noticed a number of accessible units, marked as accessible units, I should say, because of the clearances and things in the restrooms. Those don't show up in the other buildings, and I don't know if it's just that they're not marked, but are there accessible units in all of the?
Yeah, so the accessibility strategy for this development was to provide equal facilitation at the ground level of all buildings. So all suite king rooms, double queens, when we have when we had a particular room, all of those rooms are both accessible and non-accessible. Well, everything's adapted, but everything, we have accessible rooms on the ground floor.
In all the buildings?
In all the buildings.
Yeah, I just noticed it was marked in the one, but not in the others. Speaking of accessibility, Building B, can we go to that building facade quickly? On the right-hand side, there is an ADA chairlift stuck on the front of the building that lands you on the upper terrace beyond the public facilities of that building. And I'm wondering what the logic is for that location as opposed to putting it in a position that's closer to the main entry to create an equal experience for somebody using the public spaces of that building.
Yeah, it's a fair question. In that location, it is on a main circulation path from the parking lot. So if you went immediately between Building A and Building B, it leads to the parking lot, which leads to accessible spaces that we have for this half of the building. So for us, it was on the path of travel from the parking lot up to an accessible route into Building B. We had looked at other things like ramps, and it just started eating up a lot of landscape space that we wanted to devote to more green space. So,
Well, independent of the ramp, though, I guess what I'm wondering is that if the walk coming from the parking is coming this way, and you have the circulation through the Building A that's coming in somewhere in this area, you've got a sidewalk coming this way, and you have these angled walls here which are leading to the main entry and then the public spaces live in this part of the building, and the accessible access point is here, what prevents you from shifting it over, integrating it into this architectural element so that somebody could exit onto the same platform where an ambulatory person would land to create the same experience for entering the building, which is essentially what you're trying to do with accessibility, is create the same experience. This looks attached, sort of haphazardly. Putting it in here, tucking it in the corner, puts it in a place where it is protected better from the sun. It's not going to look like an afterthought, and it's really not that much different in terms of the access point from the sidewalk, but it's putting you at a more appropriate access point to the building and the functions of the building.
Yeah, fair point. We could definitely take a look at that.
May I ask, did this, what, I'm curious, the historic rating on this is 2?
Where did it land?
Is it all buildings?
Not 2.
Is it all buildings? Is it the site?
Is it 3?
It was a 3, it might be a 4, but it wasn't
I
1 or
think
2.
it wound up being a 4.
And so, were there any restrictions put on changes to the elevations that we are seeing here today and in the package?
No, because we saw the value in keeping those, and I would have to go back and read the report, but the report probably said, our historic survey report indicated that these were character-defining features of the building. We said we would keep them. They all said great, and
Sounds about right. Sounds very appropriate.
Any other questions of the applicant? Yes,
I have a couple more.
please.
Sheet A201-C and D, you can open those up. I think it's sheet 76 in the set. Can we pull it up on the screen?
What, is it an elevation or
It is, yes, it is an elevation.
do we know what elevation?
It's, well, the sheet is A201-C.
Oh, this one, okay.
Yeah. I had a question about the screen walls at the stairs. Where the screen doesn't fully enclose the stairs and the handrail's wide open, there's no guardrail shown. Is this accurate? When I'm looking at.
is there a glass handrail?
Where I'm looking
Or a
at
glass guardrail?
opening there and opening
Yeah.
here. There's a glass guard.
Yeah, so there's a glass, yeah.
Can we go to the next sheet, 201D?
Zoom in. Because it's so.
I know, that's what I'm trying to find it.
Looking at elevation 3, this has changed since I looked at it. It was dropped down before here, so this is corrected. Okay, that sort of answered my question. Before in the image that I have, it's dropped down to a head height that's, would slice your head off. Okay, should be bad.
No head slicing.
No head slicing involved. And then my last question is about the reception building. There's a kink in the roof at the front of the building. Right here.
Yes.
Really subtle kink that then I think is translated to that point in the back.
Correct.
What's happening there? What is that expressing something in particular?
We have, at that valley, we've got some water capture going on there, but that facade's gone through a few iterations, and right now it is just a rain chain and likely some way to capture and demonstrate the water flow down off that roof.
All right.
Any other questions of the applicant? Okay. It sounds like this is time for public comment, and we have somebody online.
Yep.
Yes.
Please tell us your name and address.
Hello, this is Charlie. Hello, this is Charlie Carno. I represent Unite Here Local 11. Our offices are at 464 South Lucas Avenue, Unit 201 in Los Angeles. We represent workers throughout Ontario and Riverside counties. I'm calling. We also spoke at the Planning Commission hearing with our concerns regarding the categorical exemption proposed for this project. We've sent a letter. We sent a letter to the Planning Commission, and I forwarded it to the Architectural Review Commission because I saw that it was I saw that the categorical exemption was also going to be considered by this committee as well. I did want to ask some questions regarding regarding the open space. However, then this information is also in our letter. I note that in the previous site plan, it said that 2.2% of the open space minimum requirement was being met with enhanced paving and special color and pattern at main entry arrival. I'm basically asking whether this meets the code's requirements for open space, and whether the overall open space requirement therefore is being met. I understand that additional open space has been added, but I want to understand if we're meeting the requirement. In the code, it says that open space is not supposed to include streets, driveways, parking lots, or habitable buildings. The second question I had regarding the design of the project and landscaping is what kind of native plants are being used, and how we can encourage the use of more native plants. On the categorical exemption, there's more details in the letter, but the basic question here is that some of the demolition here is going to happen within 30 feet from existing residences, but there weren't any analysis of construction emissions, what equipment is going to be used, a comprehensive noise study, and in general, we were sort of surprised not to see the kind of studies on noise, more comprehensive study of traffic and VMT that we've seen for other categorical exemptions. Those are our comments. We hope that the city will not move forward until these issues are addressed. Thank you.
As the applicant, would you like to comment on any of those or answer?
The only one that I think I could add some color to, the rest were taken up at the Planning Commission, is the enhanced paving. If we can go to the site plan, the latest site plan. That one works too. So what we're proposing to do is use color and stamped concrete in that entry drive. And that entry drive to us it's a little bit like the Parker, where there is a facade feature and you're back behind a large hedge. So it creates almost an exterior room. And so for us, this is using the enhanced paving there, not having parking other than people coming and going at the porte cochere, is this enhanced paving area was intended to feel like an outdoor room, intended to be a place where you could mingle, or you could just visually look out on it as something that has a large dimension that ends in these interesting green space hedges, that ends in interesting architecture, but creates an open space courtyard. So that's the intention there, and it's further amplified by the way we've intentionally kept parking out of that main drive area. So that's where we're using that enhanced paving to get to the required open space total. And Ken, do you have any insight into how this has been used in the past? And
Well, as a drive aisle, it could not be counted toward usable open space. So I think what you may need to do is work with Alex. If you can work, you've got an AMM already part of this. I think you're gonna want to use the AMM mechanism to do a request for reduction in open space, because it's truly functionally a drive aisle. Even though it's using colored pavement and so on, it's a drive aisle, and as such would not normally be counted toward the usable open space. But if you can solve it with the AMM, that would take care of that problem.
yeah. And speaking of the AMM for parking that we currently have, we're not using the 10%. So 10% would allow us up to 17 spaces or so. We're only deficient by 5 spaces. And that was done to increase the shade trees that the Planning Commission asked for. So we took some parking out at the request of the Planning Commission to put more trees into the parking area. And then from a management point of view, we're confident that operationally, they will control the site so that during those peak weekends, whether it's festival weekends or whether it's tennis tournaments or film festival, that the site is managed properly.
Are there
So-
designated parking for the restaurant? Are they separate somehow, or?
No, there's not separate parking, but there will be valet. So if you do pull up and you don't want the hassle of
Circling.
driving around.
Sure.
So the 45% open space requirement, and you're coming in at 45.6%, that includes the porte cochere that you're suggesting the AMM for, or?
Yeah. What, is it 2 or 3% is the enhanced paving?
It's one. Without it, we're 43.6, so like, oh.
43.6.
1.5%.
So you're 1.5%.
If that wraps up questions for the applicant, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll now open up for commission discussion here. Is there a starting point? Anybody like to share their thoughts or responses to the package or the presentation?
Yeah, I think it's a really wonderful use of the space. It's been vacant for a long time, so I'm excited to see something going in. I did have a similar concern that Commissioner, formerly Bastian, I'm still working on him. Help me, Anna.
Roseman.
Roseman. Commissioner Roseman raised, which is just about the size of the pool for the number of units. Just as an example, I think the Ace Hotel also has 179 rooms, and they have 2 pools. And I know it's not all the time, but during certain times of the year, that space is really, it feels like it's over capacity anyway, even with the 2 pools. So my one concern would just be, and I don't know what the rules are, and I know somebody else smarter than I can figure it out, but that is my one concern when I looked at this plan.
The Avalon has 80 rooms, 80-ish, and has 3 pools. And those are always packed too. I feel like that's my concern as well, with 170 rooms and 1 pool, especially
Their
during.
pools tend to be a little bit smaller, so I get that, but that was my only concern.
Commissioner Dillon?
I have 2 concerns. One, I think I voiced both of them. One is the accessibility, the access to Building B, and the other is the proximity of the 2 access points so close together at the north end of the complex. I just see that as a choke point for traffic coming in and out of both the complex and from the street. And knowing, having been to Rick's before and trying to pull out onto North Palm Canyon, it's a raceway. And people are coming down from the 10 at 50 miles an hour. And that particular confluence of traffic there just makes me think that there's a potential for inadvertent collision, people coming in and coming out, or maybe overshooting the entry, pulling in, trying to maneuver around, come around, and come back in, just sort of wrap around that corner. So I don't know if there's a way to fix that, but I can just see that being a potential accident area.
And I'm gonna, you were listening better than I was. Take me from the north point down with those accessibility points and tell me which are one-way and which are two-way, because I am confused. So,
The accessibility points for, to the site?
yes, the vehicular access.
Then one on
So
the
the
north
south
is
end is
two-way,
only-
in and out.
The north end is
The north, two-way.
And the south
So
end
that's
is one way
in and out.
exit only.
That's in and out. This is in.
Got it.
One direction this way.
Mm-hmm.
So my concern is somebody pulling out here, maybe turning to pull in there, somebody coming down who's not stopping, who's going pretty fast down Palm Canyon.
Yeah, on a curve.
Somebody trying to pull in at the same time.
Right.
It's somebody pulling out, pulling in, all happening in this very small space. That's what concerns me.
Yes. Alex, is the vehicular accessibility different than it has always been? Or is this
This is
the
different.
same as this has always been?
It's different.
Okay, all right.
Are there-
And engineering has reviewed this?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's been engineering, and it's also been reviewed by Caltrans, is that correct?
I don't know if Caltrans has seen it yet.
They've not seen it yet.
Are there entryway markers? Because from the drawings that we see, it's so lush with landscaping, I can't see anything. Is there any markers?
There'll have to be some kind of directional signage, yes.
Okay.
More comments from commissioners?
I would just say, I think that the plant palette is beautiful. It looks to me like it's a nice mix of natives and what we call adaptive plants for this area, which it's like a beautiful mix of colors and textures, and I really appreciate the intensity of the planting and the layout of the planting. You know, I think the palette is fantastic. This is going to read resort for sure from as you're passing by. I think the spaces are really exciting, and I'm excited to see something happening here in an area that is, you know, very underwhelming in the city. And this is going to bring a lot of attention and pizzazz to this side of the city. I'm not terribly concerned personally about the pool. I think it's big, you know, those old, you know, I feel like you've got a lot of spaces for people to be. Not everybody wants to be in the sun. So there's a pretty good mix of uses and spaces for my eye. So I don't have a problem with that. I wish that there was some, you know, you've got 3 relocated olives, which is great. I wish that there were some bigger trees in the mix. Everything's 36-inch box right now, which is great, better than 24s, but it would be nice to see a range, 60s, 48s, 36s, and you could even put in a couple of 24s if you're doing that range. It would be nice to see, but I think the presentation, the package, and everything is really well done. I appreciate the ease to read it, and I thought your presentation was fantastic too, so that's my.
Okay, thank you. Any other commission comments? Would somebody like to put a motion together?
I think we should leave that to Commissioner Dillon on the end there.
Motion?
Motion?
I would make a motion to approve with the revisiting of the accessibility at that building B.
The lift, you mean? The lift.
The lift, the relocation of the lift.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Any further discussion? Member Dillon.
Yes.
Member Thompson.
Yes.
Member Elliott.
Yes.
Member Roseman.
Yes.
Member Thomas.
Aye.
And Vice Chair Walsh.
Aye.
Passes.
Well done.
Great job on those materials.
Nice job, Renee.
Stunning.
Since you did all the work.
like to take us through adjournment?
Yes, all right, well, now we are on to planning director's report. Mr. Lyon, anything to update us on?
Nothing in particular. I want to just speak a little bit to my comments earlier and kind of pushing you guys a little bit on being descriptive. We've had some problems, not on anything in particular, where the comments coming back from the ARC are sometimes rather vague, and the applicants don't know what to do with them. And so that's why I want you to be as concise as possible, and I will continue to try to coach you in some of those so that we get a good articulated description of what it is you're really trying to get them to do. Okay? That was my reason for kind of pushing back on you on those things.
For being mean?
For being mean, yes.
We get it. It's, and that's appropriate to do.
Yes, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's fine.
Absolutely.
And then one thing on subcommittees. Member Walsh and I attended a subcommittee for In-N-Out Burger in the Smoke Tree Plaza. Seems to be moving along. I don't know how many bites at the apple that project has had, but we should be seeing it at some point at this committee, right?
Yeah.
Has it gone to planning commission?
I don't think it's gone to planning commission yet.
Can I ask a question about that? Are we, I know they have a very standard palette. The first time they came through, we saw it. Are they making any modifications to the roof line and the facade of the building to be much more reflective of the community in which they exist?
It's
or-
currently Streamline Moderne, which is a new take for them. So we encourage them to
Be consistent.
be consistent and
There
run
are
with that.
parts and pieces. The vocabulary has been set,
Nice.
but it needs to hang together a little bit better. So
Speaking a couple different languages still.
hopefully, we will be pleased.
Lovely.
We don't know, they're off cooking it up.
Well, that's encouraging. Streamline Moderne, we like that. Robert Burns.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, adjournment. So what time do we have?
7:37.
7:37, the meeting of the Architectural Review Committee, January 21st is adjourned. All right, thank you all.
Pretty better than the last 2 weeks ago.